So welcome everybody. Who's new members here? Got a few ones. Yeah, well, that's a lot. Old timers? I'm an old timer. So, all right, let's find. All right. Another question. Who has read this book? All right, we're going over chapter number 3. Yeah, good stuff there. I'm going to come down here because I don't like standing up there. All right. So Dawn said a little bit about me, but a little bit more. Like she said, I've been coming to these conferences for 5 years. And I have to say, it's probably my favorite time of year. I get to come, and you guys are my people, or my tribe, I think as Kelly May describes it. But you're my people. You know exactly what I'm trying to do. And what we do is really fun. So I hope you guys feel the same way. I changed jobs, and I'm at my new job. I get to create an investment recovery program, so I'm starting from scratch. It's really fun. And if anybody's doing that same thing, please contact me so we can help each other. All right, so surplus asset dispositioning. So I said this is chapter 3, but who knows what chapter 1 and chapter 2 are, right? Because this is the heart of dispositioning. What's chapter 1? Identify. So first you identify your assets. Anybody know what chapter 2 is? Very good. Who did that? Who said that? Nice job. All right. This is interactive, so please talk, ask questions. We're going to play a game at the end, and there are prizes. So listen up. All right. So not going to really read all the screens because you can do that yourself. But I'll hit on the points is what I'm going to try to do. Overall, we're here to execute the appropriate disposition methodologies to have the best returns, minimize the risk, and then provide customer satisfaction. Internal customers and external customers. Right? But mostly we're focused on internal customers. Those people that want to hang on to all of their stuff. So, identify, value. Identify, chapter 1, value. Chapter 2, disposition is chapter 3. And identification, first you obviously locate it. Where is it at? Then you describe it, material, make, model, serial number, all that good stuff. And then you catalog them. Catalog, most of us do it by commodity. Right? You kind of lump things together. If it's a bunch of valves, a bunch of motors, a bunch of other stuff. I think there's another one after this, right, on the hard to sell disposition, hard to sell stuff. That's always the fun run, right? I always love to ask people, what's the funnest thing you've ever sold? Does anybody want to give one? Just for fun? A train engine? Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Anybody else?
Trees.
What? Trees?
Had finished a study and had 20 acres of trees that we sold to a developer. And so not only did we make money, but we had cost of goods because we didn't have to carry them in.
So you didn't sell the land, you just sold the trees.
We had the trees in the
You know what? I moved to Texas when I took this new job, my dream job in Texas. Firewood is so dang expensive. Can I cuss in there? I probably can't cuss. It's so expensive. In Michigan, there was like trees everywhere. In Texas, it's cost like $1 for one piece of wood. So I can see where that would make money. Anyway, try to sell fine china from our country club. They upgraded their stemware in China, and I said, what can you do with this stuff? So I assembled it, lotted it together, kind of did my evaluation. And eventually, they didn't sell it. I didn't get the right price. And I think that's probably what normally happens. You guys can probably all tell me stories of this, but people think their stuff is like really valuable. Yeah, that stemware was old. So I think it still sits in the country club. Okay, so let's identify. Chapter 2, value. So there's all kinds of value concepts. value approach, value reconciliation. You can learn all of that. And I'm sure if you were in this one earlier on appraisals, you probably learned that. Disposition. So context, options, close out. It's pretty easy stuff. So the basics, right, along the line. We all do this we do this so fast that we do this that it probably just becomes second nature. The 7 R's. You've heard this many times. So at the top, obviously, the most value for the company is to reuse that piece of equipment. The next highest and the most valuable is recondition. After that, return to vendor. After that, resell, which includes donations. Reclaim, so that's when catalysts and such like that. Recycle, and then remove. So obviously your last option of all disposition options should be to save it from the landfill. Types of surplus. So we have, this is also in the handbook, obviously. Capital assets, non-capital assets. MRO, just maintenance, repair, and operating assets. Excess product and raw material. Physically obsolete. Accounting obsolete. Byproducts and waste. I could use help because like I said, I came from the chemical world, and so I'm learning that things are a little different in the gas and oil refining business. There's lots of things I need to learn. But I'd like to say that I'm still selling stuff. Okay? Stuff. Does anybody ever ask that? When I go out to, so right now I'm early on. I'm only about 8 or 9 months into developing our investment recovery program at Endeavor. And I'll tell you that I'm not sure why they waited so long. It's not a brand new company. But anyway, they hired me, so I'm there. But what I do is I go out right now. It's just basically, if you were listening to Chris from Cox Communications, she was talking about how she developed it 10 years ago. And it's really like you spend the first year or two, I think, just figuring out who the right people are and making those relationships. Because man, oh man, it's really hard to change what people do culturally, right? They say, so I want to go in there, I want to change things. I want to innovate the way that we handle our surplus assets. But you know what eats innovation? Culture. Culture eats innovation for breakfast. If you want to get anything done, you got to infiltrate the cultures and then the subcultures to try to change something. Anyway, I digress. Some related terms and processes associated with the 7 R's. So recycling is scrap. All right, so we're going to go through the 7 R's in a little bit more detail. Reuse is defined as the reutilization or the redeployment of surplus assets within a company. I like to say we're just going to share with each other. From one refinery to the other, we should be sharing. So it always provides the greatest potential return on the investment. So I think just make it in front of you, right? What do you call that? Be aware, right? Put it in front of them. It's have an inventory, really, right? I have an inventory of all of our surplus assets, and I make people put it in front of them on a regular basis, let them know it's there, keep good communication with all of your internal customers. Sure.
I've been pushing for the state's purchasing division to require all purchasers to check surplus before they can buy new. And they either have to check the box saying that they looked at it and they couldn't find it, or what they found didn't meet the statement of work or need for the item. So that at least it forced them to look first before they went and bought all new stuff.
Absolutely. So you write it into the policy that you will check that box that you check.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
It hasn't worked so far.
Well, I jumped ahead a few steps. Yeah.
Where do you get them to look at? Where do you get them to look at? Is there web-based platforms?
There's several platforms. Yep.
Can use internally then too. So these things could that could be a repository for those sort of surplus items, so people can have a place to look.
Yep. Absolutely. You can do it in the on your intranet internally. You can do it externally. There are technologies out there. Some of them were at the show here that will develop that for you, and even they can do lots of stuff. Right? Basic. You can send an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint or something. Most people, I've sent an Excel spreadsheet. I think I've got over 1,000 valves right now in my Los Angeles refinery, and so I'm just trying to get the word out right now because I don't have technology up yet. So I send the spreadsheet, and they say, "Oh, Stacey, we want pictures." I'm like, I'm not going to send 1,500 pictures of each valve. So I'm working on that technology. But I mean, that's the way you could do it. So basic steps in creating an effective internal asset redeployment: you identify the company's surplus assets. You make the surplus assets visible to the company, online or catalog, or Yammer, which is great. Be proactive in promoting the use of surplus assets through redeployment, and provide necessary support service. My boss is pushing incentives. How do we incentivize, say, our buyers to go check that surplus Excel spreadsheet before you buy new? All right, the second R, recondition, refurbish. So rebuilding and overhauling equipment for internal use. So the caveat is that the costs associated with the repair and refurbishing process can add up very quickly, and you want to and make it difficult to recoup the company's investment. So compared to projected refurbishing costs, so you're supposed to compare projected refurbishing costs with the current market resale value of the same recovered item, and sometimes you should consider partial refurbishment. Examples are vehicles and computers. So with our engineering team and the purchasing team, we worked together and we had a project on motors, and we determined that, not multitasked, basically at a certain, I think anything less than 60 horsepower, we would dispose of other ways. But if it was greater than 60 horsepower, if it was a special motor, right, there's lots of special, then we would actually refurbish it. So we looked at the cost analysis. So a brand new motor, $1,500, we can refurbish it for $600. Well, that's what we're gonna do. So we called them the cores. So as the motors came out of the process, we would take them in my warehouse, and then we had a third party that would help us inventory those, evaluate them, and then refurbish them. So you refurbish them even though you didn't need them yet? We would wait until, that's such a good question. So, right, yeah. So the cores would just sit there, right, until a requisitioner or a buyer or whoever would say, yep, we need that, then they refurbish it. Yeah, good question. All right, return to vendor. Hopefully everybody does this. Common items for inventory type assets. So original packaging, clean condition, restocking fee, engineered or capital equipment items. Because I can go out to my refineries and I can see lots of stuff, right? And I can take care of that, right, as a cleanup effort. But I see my job as way more proactive, right? So I'm going to develop those procedures, develop those policies. I'm going to infiltrate. I'm going to infiltrate the. That's a bad word. The projects team, and I say that because they've historically not wanted to help with their materials. So I'm going to get a seat at the table per se with projects, and I'm going to say, hey, when your project's done, it's this simple. Give me a list of what surplus you have after that project is done, or after a turnaround is done. It seems so simple, doesn't it? But all too often these projects end and they're just ready to move on to the next project, and so they're not really caring about that material that's left over from that project. So there's no real transition, I think, other than, so I work really closely with our materials managers, and they say they don't know that we have surplus until it shows up at the door, the fork truck, to, hey, unload this. And then, oh, well, where'd that come from? Let's talk about this. Right, so they just take everything to the warehouse, or they let it sit outside and rust. Okay, so we're at the resale point. Questions you should be asking are there any restrictions on the sale of this asset? Licensing, exporting. Is there a time frame? How quick do you need this out of your way? Right, how fast do we need to work? So time is key. Complete an accurate description of the asset. So anything that they can give you, right, you're going to try to collect as much information as you can in the identification phase. Environmental issues. safety issues. So you talk about nuclear, right? Any radioactive sources. I've learned that we have those norms, right? Naturally occurring radioactive material. I think I've got a stack. I've got a stack that I've got to sell. It's got bricks, right? And I think I need to deal with that. So anyway, those are all those things that you need to know in advance. There's a lot of work that goes into identifying your assets before you resell them. So identify your most likely target markets. You determine the sales method that's most appropriate. So sales types, there's third-party sales. If you can find the end user, that's amazing. Then you've hit it out of the park. Dealers and brokers, you can sell it, consign it, trades and bartering, and donations. Anybody do donations? It's a fun part of your job. Yeah. So more about the resale market, end users, which is obviously the greatest return on investment. It is also the hardest market to reach. Brokers and dealers, they have extensive marketing and buyer database. They can purchase the assets for resale or will market and sell the assets for you. The distinction between a broker and a dealer is generally that a broker does not take title to the asset, where the dealer will usually take title. Rebuilders and refurbishers, they purchase items that need to be rebuilt, repaired, or updated to be marketable. So the arrangements may involve a purchase or consignment, and these are most likely spare parts. Okay, other sales methods, fixed price sales. An IR representative sets a price for the item, advertised through a listing or catalog. Quite often becomes a negotiated sales, and it can be used for any type of assets. And negotiated sales involve the classic offer and counteroffer sales method. Higher value, more complicated assets can be used, and it can be used for any type of asset. So I want to stop here for a second. Who's taken the Karis negotiation seminar? You've taken it, the 2-day? Yeah. I actually took it, and I had to lie to my team that I didn't know what was going on when we were doing the truck buying thing. I knew exactly what was happening. I have to say, it's really helped me. I learned that I'm too soft on negotiation. I need to be tougher. Yeah. She said it's time consuming. Does anybody like negotiating on sales? We all should probably like it a little bit. Open bid sales, the seller receives the offer for the assets that are or may be available for sale. It's unsolicited, and it's based on the buyer's need. More sales methods, auctions, public sale of assets to the highest bidder. There are absolute auctions, there are reserve auctions. Common use, low dollar items. Broker-dealer agreements. A broker or dealer agrees to the market and sells the surplus asset. So I don't know if we talk about buyer's premium, seller's premium, all that stuff. There's so much that goes into this, right? We're just striking the overview of this. Brokers and dealers may not take physical possession of the assets, right? We sell in place. Sometimes we know logistics can make or break a deal, right? If I've got 200 tons of pipe in the middle of North Dakota, it's going to affect my price that I get for that. Logistics costs a lot of money. So the owner retains the title until it's sold, and then loss prevention. Any questions on that? Any good logistics stories? More sales methods. There's a sealed bid method. Anybody use the sealed bid methods? I did one. I actually did a silent auction sort of thing. It was I did a United Way. So we had a ton of furniture. I think we were close. The demolition group was tearing down some buildings, and there was thousands of file cabinets and chairs, and and I lived in Michigan, and there was hunters that would just like gobble up chairs for what would they use them for? They're hunting cabins. Yeah, they're like, oh, cheers. So I coupled it with the United Way campaign that happens every September or whatever, and I'm telling you this because I would never do this again, because it was very philanthropic, right? It was a great thing to do for the community, but it was so much work. So there's probably better ways to do this. But it had everything lined up, had a silent auction. You could go and you could bid for it, and then at the end, you're responsible. Get your file cabinet home, right? It was a fiasco. So you can mail a campaign. The sealed bid cover sheet will include terms and conditions of the sale, the date and time the bid are due, the format for the bid, and the removal requirements and payment requirements. So it's confidential, it's secure. We're actually going to do it. We've got a refinery up in Seattle, near Seattle, Washington, and we got a bunch of old vehicles. And I don't understand, but because most of the vehicles, and raise your hand if you have vehicles like what we have, but you can normally see the ground through the floorboards. So it's a little rusty, right? But anyway, so we're going to do that because people love that stuff. But there are some vehicles that are going to be in good shape. And that's where it's obviously very important to have your hold harmless, as is, where is in place. Okay, so other methods. Wait, we just did sealed bid. Warranty, condition, valuation issues, taxation issues. Donations. So goodwill, positive corporate citizenship, documentation is required, and there's 4 criteria for donation. It must conform to tax law, product reliability release. Any donation over 5,000 has to actually have an approved appraisal, along with other tax documentation. Reclamation for reuse. There's other forms of recycling, including lubricants, chemicals, wood products. Cost avoidance, if we can reuse it internally. Recycling benefits, so you're going to reduce those disposal costs. And this is where you should be putting it in your metrics, right? Your leadership wants to know how you're saving the company money, whether you're just avoiding that 100 and whatever, 101. What did Chris say it was? Like $219 per ton to send it to the landfill versus something a lot less to recycle it. So scrap metal, paper, plastic, glass. Obviously some are easy and some are hard. I had a project once to just recycle cardboard, and I had to calculate, and I'm not a statistician, but you have to calculate how much when we compress the cardboard, what we would avoid going to the landfill for and what we would make from it. So there's lots of opportunities out there if you're really motivated to help your company's sustainability target. Sales contracts, sales agreements. So obviously it's going to be unique to the situation, containing all the protections required, as is, where is. Legal department's going to review. So normally you'd have a form, right, for every sale. Unnecessary, unclear contract provisions can lead to confusion and, in the worst case, to litigation. So we talked a little bit about contracts. Obviously, you want to develop and maintain a customer database of prospective buyers. We all have buyers that like certain stuff, right? And you're normally going to classify those by commodity code. So how are you going to find those customers? These probably change on a regular basis. We all need to just kind of go with the current technology of finding your customers and buyers. But you should always get suggestions from whoever owns that asset. They can normally lead you in the right person that's going to use that because they're just very familiar with it, right? The purchasing department, vendor, fellow, these, I'll say it again, that we are your people, or like Kelly says, we are your tribe. Use the knowledge in this room because we've all tried to sell probably the similar stuff, right? So help each other. That's what we're here for. Can the item be redeployed within the company? So if no, then your consideration should be value the asset compared to the cost of the sale. Can it be refurbished? Look at the environmental and safety concerns, the time constraints, the current market impact. So this is another recap. Negotiated auction, spot bids, donations. One of the things that I was gonna talk about is actually ask you, how would you disposition something like this? This is an old turbine generator. Mold filters that were overstock. We had hundreds more than we needed. A crane, something that still runs, but maybe it's really old. So I did put these up here because you're gonna go through that list of disposition options. You're gonna view it differently. And I like to say that there's a toolbox. There's a toolbox we should all have. Not literally, but figuratively, where we can say, I'm going to go pull this one out, and I'm going to sell it this way, right? Or I'm going to do it this way. So, last one, IRA Association. And you can buy the book. So, any questions before we play Jeopardy? To make this easier, we're not gonna do the subtraction thing. So there's no wrong answers. Right? But if you get the right answer, raise your hand. If you know the answer, raise your hand, yell it out, and we'll make it that simple. And then keep track of what your score is. And at the end, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, the top prize winners. So everybody got it? And it's supposed to be in the form of a question that says Jeopardy. So try to do that, okay? All right. You want to start? Okay, pick a. All right, Dawn, catch all for 100. An RFI is a request for information. So what is an RFQ?
Request for quote.
Very good. 100. You have to keep your. I'm gonna just trust you. Okay. Yeah. All right. Want to pick the next one?
Maybe.
I can see it. Sure.
Oh no.
It went away.
Poor Dawn. I kind of said Dawn.
200, please.
Catch all for 200. What is a contract? Go ahead.
A binding agreement.
Very good. Yeah. An agreement for doing.
What is a binding agreement?
Oh! You still get 200 points, but don't do it again. All right, so that was 200. What's next?
What is that for 200?
What is that for 200? What is it?
What is valve?
He yelled the highest. It's so simple, but, it is 100. Or 200. Good job. Those are valves. Pick the next one, sir.
Let's go with what is for 500?
What is that for 500? What is that?
What is a bad picture of something? Where's the data plate?
Yep. No, this is a trick one.
What is an identification problem?
Very good. What is nothing? Wait, Dawn, you didn't give the answer. Go back to that. No, there was it said nothing, didn't it? So I do this. It's just kind of be funny. But who goes out in the field and actually they never unwrapped it from the manufacturer, still out there brand new, but yet you have no idea what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Problems I have, I guess. What? Yeah. I'm going to go back to Salt Lake City and find out what it is. Yeah. That'll take. I'm pretty sure it came from a turnaround or project, so it's not actually in our materials.
It's a CD.
It was trick. I tricked you. Okay, it's your turn.
Next category.
You got 200. Go ahead.
I saw a strategy. Let's go do that.
Statistically speaking, for 500, what do we pay in holding costs every year? I think you're right. Oh,
The book says
my company, yeah, I know. My company does 25. I think somewhere in the book it goes 20, and so, yeah. Kelly, you can correct me. Kelly actually put together this presentation a while ago. But this Jeopardy questions are from the entire book, right? It's not just from the disposition options, which is chapter 3. So who gets to pick? Did you? You pick. What do you want to do?
Disposition 101 for 300.
Name one thing we recycle. I love it. Who said something for? What? Say it again.
What is glass?
Paper, plastic. All the above. It's all in fun. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll give it to you. You got 300. You want to pick a new category?
Disposition 101, 500.
Name 4 of the 7 disposition options.
What is resell, what is reuse, what is recondition, and what is...
Wait, you were, just because you're louder, you try it. What are the 4? Yeah. You get to pick next. Oh. I think I have it. Define for 500. What does MRO stand for?
Maintenance, repair, operation. What is
You are so lucky I'm not taking away your points. This is all in fun. Go ahead, pick the next category.
statistically speaking, 400?
What is the average number of transaction per investment recovery professional per year? This is in the book, which was published in 2012. No? Anybody else want to guess? Less than 10,000, more than... None of you are even close. I'm sorry. Somebody else. You're over. What is 219?
That's how many projects I do a year. That's not how many transactions. That's projects.
And Sean might know, but do you know what the transactions are in the last benchmarking study? How many transactions investment recovery? Huh? Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the next one since I don't have much time, and they'll let us know what that is. Who pick? Okay, pick one.
Wait a minute, we already did that one.
Wait, not paid. What is that?
What is a transformer?
Very good. Kelly, was that you? Woohoo! I built the Jeopardy. Good question. Okay, Kelly, what do you want to pick? Wait, oh. Give me 2 activities that generate surplus.
What is obsolescent?
That might be on there, yeah? You're thinking too deep into this, actually. Think about the people that you work with and who generates surplus.
Broken stuff.
That's good. That's good.
Capital projects and decommissioning.
Yeah, that's good. Those are other good ones too, but yeah, projects, equipment replacements, dismantling up, demolition, divestiture, real estate, plant shutdowns, acquisitions. I think some of you got some of that. But, all right. What's your name? Shannon. I knew that. Okay. Shannon, go ahead and pick.
What is that? 400.
We already did that one. Oh, no, we didn't.
What is a turbine?
Very good. Yeah. Specifically, it is a GE Frame 3 turbine, and I am trying to sell it. Who? Pick the next one.
Define 400.
What does FMV stand
Fair
for?
market value.
Good job. Fair market value. Some of these are pretty easy, aren't they? It's okay.
Define for 300. What is return on investment?
Be honest, who won it? Who took it? Who answered first? Chris? Okay. Okay, we can we do two more, maybe? Gotta wrap it up? Did you? 1,108 transactions per IR employee? Yeah, that sounds a little more accurate, doesn't it? I think maybe IR professionals are doing more these days. They're asked to be doing more. Okay, so let's do one more. We'll wrap up, and I've got prizes for the top three. And I need you guys to be honest and who about your scores. Chris, you want to pick the next? Pick the last one. What percent should I expect for my return on investment? It's a range, I'll tell you that.
Is it between 22 and 30?
No.
No, it's higher. Yeah. Who said higher? Huh? 66. Go ahead. 50 to 90%. This is quite variable. Sometimes I'm happy with 10% on my return on investment. So, okay, good job. Who's got high points? Yes, you got high points. How many do you have? You got 1,500? Oh, I think I got my top three. Right? I think I got you two and Chin. All right, good job, guys.